At the resurrection of Yeshua, there's a guy named that we call Doubting Thomas. The Bible doesn't call him Doubting Thomas, but, we call him that. Thomas didn't really believe. He didn't trust his friends that said that Yeshua was back. He has come back from the dead. We saw him die, but he is risen. And Thomas says, you know what? I won't believe unless I see the imprint from the nails that were in his hands. Plural, by the way, nails in his hands, meaning there was more than one nail in his hands. There were two nails, meaning his hands had to be separated, not crisscross over his head like the Jehovah's Witnesses say his hands were, with one nail going through his hands. No, Thomas said, unless I see the imprint from the nails that were in his hands, I will not believe. Well, then Yeshua shows up, shows Thomas the nail prints in his hands, even says, here, place your hand in my side, where he was wounded in the side with a spear. And Thomas says to Yeshua, to him, so you got to look at the details in the scripture. Thomas said to him, my Lord and my God, the Lord of me and the God of me. Thomas was speaking to Yeshua, and not only called Yeshua Lord, or Kyrios in Greek, he called him Ho Theos, the God of me. Thomas made Yeshua his personal Lord and God right then and there, and Yeshua didn't say, Thomas, you are to be corrected. You may call me Lord, but don't you dare call me God. He didn't say that. Now, as a Jehovah's Witness, how we interpreted Thomas's words were that Thomas looked at Jesus and said, the Lord of me, and then he looked up to heaven and talked to God, the Father, and said, the God of me. He was talking to Jesus the whole time, because the scripture says Thomas said to him, something that the Jehovah's Witnesses leadership never pointed out. Thomas said to him. The Jehovah's Witnesses, they altered things so that it could match their doctrine. But when I started looking into the detail of things, the details, wow, don't you want the details with everything? When you want to get to the truth, you got to get to the root of things, and the root is the spirit behind the word. The root is the spirit behind the word, not men's interpretation, not their carnal thinking. It's actually the spirit behind the word. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I realized two things. One, when I was reading the scriptures, but in detail, I saw that Thomas said that he wouldn't believe unless he saw the imprint from the nails that were in Jesus' hands. Nobody ever said, hey, did you ever look up this verse in the Bible? I came across it one day on my own, and I stared at that word nails, and I said, oh my God, why have I not seen this before? Nails is plural, meaning more than one. And all of the Watchtower literature I had pictures of Jesus with one nail going through his hands, with his hands crisscrossed over his head. But when I saw that there were nails in his hands, and Thomas, who was an eyewitness of the death of Jesus, of Yeshua, he said, unless I see the imprint from the nails that were in his hands. So that's attention to detail. It helps people that are in cults to be set free. And then the next thing I noticed is that Thomas said to him, Yeshua, the Lord of me and the God of me, and Yeshua did not correct him. And they didn't use slang back then. My Lord and oh my God. Oh my God is something we say today. That's an expression people say today. Oh my God. They weren't saying it back then. Thomas was actually calling Yeshua his personal God. My God. Mine. He looked at him. He didn't look up to the heavens and say, oh my God. He didn't look up to the heavens after he looked at Yeshua, said, the Kyrios of me and Ho Theos of me up in the heavens. No, it says he said to him. That's what attention to detail gets you.